So President Trump held a re-election rally last night in Manchester, New Hampshire. It was his first since the impeachment acquittal and came one night before the New Hampshire primary. He wasted no time going after Democrats, but he also spoke about the economy and his support for the military. Alex Wagner joins me now from Manchester. She's a CBS News special correspondent. She's also the co-host of the Circus on Showtime, which is a division of Viacom CBS. So, Alex, at that rally, the president suggested that maybe registered independents in New Hampshire could go and vote for the worst Democratic candidate in the hopes of, I don't know, maybe making it a little easier competition for him, maybe. But the truth of the matter is those registered independents, they're kind of like the magical unicorns that the Democratic candidates all want to be able to influence. So what have they been doing to grab that independent vote?
Well, everybody's making a slightly different sales pitch. Pete Buttigieg and to some degree Amy Klobuchar are saying they're the kind of centrist Democrats that can unite people on the other side of the aisle with the Democratic base. Elizabeth Warren has strangely been positioning herself as a unity candidate within the Democratic Party, saying she can unite both poles of the Democratic caucus, the progressive side and the centrist side. But it's really Bernie Sanders who I think is most directly taking Trump on. Last night, Anne-Marie, he had a rally with 7,500 people. And the stagecraft of that, I think, was not lost on anybody, right? Across town, Donald Trump was having his own rally. Both of them were filled to the rafters. The difference largely was the color of the signs. Sanders, in that moment, I think, was trying to show the country, look, I'm the person that can go toe-to-toe with Donald Trump. I'm the person that has the same base of emotional belief in terms of my core supporters, but also I can appeal to people who might be Trump voters. And I think that if you talk about the arguments being made explicitly to independent New Hampshire voters beyond just this primary day, Bernie Sanders is the one that is articulating the most forceful argument.
So, you know, everyone remembers what happened in Iowa just last week. That app didn't do so well. The backup system, you know, also failed. How important is it for the Democratic National Committee to have a decisive winner by the end of the night in New Hampshire?
I think it's pretty important. I mean, you know, it cannot be overstated enough the degree to which the caucus narrative has been damaging for Democrats, and that's really in terms of a general election. The president has rightfully, I think, made hay of all of that, and Democrats need to stick the landing, as it were, tonight. If they don't, it will be a serious problem.
The small township of Dixville Notch voted earlier this morning at midnight. There were only 5 votes in total, but Michael Bloomberg was the winner as he received 3 write-in votes. It's a very small sample size, but, you know, how has Bloomberg been able to gain support so far on the campaign trail? Obviously, everyone knows that he was a late arrival to this race and has not been on the debate stage.
Yeah, well, you know, Bloomberg is in an enviable position, right? He has a ton of cash. He has a huge war chest. He's spending his money profligately. He is conducting an air war across the United States, and that's all good for his campaign, which is why you see voters recognizing him as a candidate. In some cases, like Dixville Notch, actually checking the box for Michael Bloomberg, but he still has yet to truly introduce himself to the country on the debate stage, for example. And we know from 12 years as mayor-make in New York City, he is not a particularly adept politician when it comes to public speaking, retail politics, all of which are important ingredients in running for the presidency of the United States. He is a fearsome opponent in terms of resources, and I think you can expect a strong showing on Super Tuesday, but whether or not he is the white whale, the sort of candidate on the horizon line that may change all of the dynamics of this race, that is very much TBD. I think the country and Democratic voters absolutely need to hear from Mayor Mike before any votes are cast.
You know, so much has been made, obviously, about the outcome of the New Hampshire vote and the Iowa vote. The former Vice President Joe Biden was on CBS this morning, and he was sort of downplaying expectations for him. And part of his argument is, you know, it's not just about these 2 states. It's about the, you know, the states to come as well. You got to look at the first 4 states to really get a good idea of where this race is going. It's, you know, it sounds like a good argument for a guy who, you know, didn't do so well in the first contest and is not expected to do so well in the second contest. But is there something to be said for that?
Well, there's something to be said for it if it looks like you're going to come in fifth in New Hampshire. There was a question at one point whether Biden would even try and compete in this state. He decided to, and as such, he has been crisscrossing this state and making his argument. We all know he's called Iowa a gut punch, and he's been telling the voters of New Hampshire that he's leaving it all on the field. I don't think you can have it both ways. I don't think you can send your candidate to the state and say the stakes are high and then also try and downplay whether the stakes are high or not for the Biden campaign. So in that respect, if he finishes fifth, I think it is a meaningful data point for the momentum inside his campaign. And look, South Carolina and Nevada, there are weeks to go before those contests arrive, and there is a desire on the part of the Democratic electorate to coalesce behind a candidate. You also have new polling out yesterday from Quinnipiac showing that among black voters, which is, the bread and butter of Joe Biden's candidacy, the sort of reason that he is still in this race, among black voters nationally, Michael Bloomberg is within 5 points of Joe Biden. If that holds, it really would seem to almost negate the thesis for the Biden campaign at this point. So I think, I'm going to be honest, I think the Biden campaign is in real trouble here, and not just with voters, but also with donors. He does not have a huge war chest. He does not have resources that he can lean back on like a Michael Bloomberg, and he's going to need to make a really convincing argument in the next couple weeks that he needs to be in this thing and has a shot at doing really well on Super Tuesday.
All right, Alex Wagner, thank you so much.